Live, and let's see here. Yeah, we are live.
So are you going to be able to see people when they log in and their questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up here on my phone so I can. I'll keep an eye. Yeah, we're live.
So as we go through here, Justin will be able to see who's actually watching during the live feed. And if you have any questions, any comments, or anything, just feel free to type it in. He'll be able to address that as we go. I won't be able to see it, but he'll be able to bring it up. And then we'll make it fun. We'll do a couple giveaways, make it interesting.
Portland,
Portland,
actually.
Oregon. Okay.
That's right. So we're trying. We are now live. Everyone can see us. Let me make sure here. Okay, I forgot there's always a little bit of delay. I'm just keeping an eye on it on my phone here. How's everyone doing? He said there's no audio.
I can hear you.
Okay. Let's see here. All right, put a 1 in the chat if you can hear us, just so we know we're on the same page here.
Yeah, we'll give everybody a few minutes to switch over because I will be shutting down the Instagram because I need my phone.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm sure the feed's really good. I can see Justin real well. Are you actually recording your screen of me?
Basically, yeah. I'm recording the screen of the entire Zoom window.
Okay, how does that look right now?
It's not the best, but it's not bad. I mean, we're both clear. We're not taking up the whole screen, which is what I would prefer, but we're taking up most of the screen.
Spread right here a little bit.
You can see the whole spread for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Good. And it's going to get better because they just extended the shelter in place here in Dallas through the month of April, and I hope it ends in April, but if it goes longer, I'm going to be prepared. I got a green screen coming. It's going to be 10 feet by 20.
All right.
So I'll be able to, make it look like I'm in Hawaii and, we're sipping a mountain.
Yeah, man.
I can't be there. At least it'll look like I'm there.
Right.
So
exactly.
I'm going to get home. I'm going to get the technology and make it nice. So I plan on doing more of these.
Yeah. I mean, this is just the beginning, and I'm honored to be the first interviewer for you here. And I'm seeing a bunch of 1s in the chat, so it looks like people can hear us. We'll let a few more people trickle in. So
we'll just start. I'll leave the IG feed going for about 5-10 minutes, and then I'll just randomly get up and I'll turn it off so my phone doesn't die.
Perfect.
So everybody, again, just as we're going, go over to YouTube because I'll probably end up shutting the Instagram feed off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I guess we'll just get started.
Yeah, sure. Totally. So thank you everyone for being here. If you don't know what you just clicked on, then welcome to this live interview with Christian Petrovich, who is the owner, creator, idea extraordinaire behind the brand Argos Fragrances. He is an entrepreneur in general. This man is managing armies and legions and businesses as well. He's a busy guy.
I'm going to keep it a little less formal than that, but the fragrance is a side note. I got into fragrance about 2014. That's when I did my first bespoke private label fragrance. And then I launched the 2 inaugural fragrances, the Pour Homme and the Pour Femme. Back in about December of 2017, I pre-launched them, so they were fully available in 2018. So still relatively new, niche house. But yeah, I do have other businesses on the side. I'm actually a therapist. I'm a physical therapist. I still have my license. I'm not actually actively seeing patients any longer, but I still carry my license and I still keep it up to date. I do real estate here in Dallas, Texas, and I have a commodities brokerage business as well. So I do various other things. I'd like to say I play the stock market, but right now I'm just seeing where the chips fall on that. But you know, the fragrance world, I'm pretty new. Not a lot of people have heard about Argos, but I think we're making pretty big waves the last couple of years.
Yeah, totally. No, and it's been an honor to, to be familiar and become familiar with your brand and your fragrances myself just over the past couple of years. I started talking about your work. This was, I guess, 2017, maybe, which was...
Yeah, you were one of the first ones. I didn't really follow a lot of fragrance channels and Instagram. I was mostly back in my modeling days. Mm-hmm. I used to model a lot. I've done New York Fashion Week, Miami Fashion Week. I've been doing this since '96. I don't really do it a lot anymore. I've actually kind of transitioned over into the film industry, but of course that's on hold right now too. I'm actually supposed to start filming another movie this spring, but that's on hold indefinitely now. One of the film cinematographers came back from LA just a month ago, and he actually has coronavirus. So that's a prevention thing. So it kind of hits home a little bit, but hopefully this clears up, the weather warms up, and they come up with a cure or something soon.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get out and actually be humans.
There's actually a movie on a post-apocalyptic, subject, so it's kind of like relates to a little bit, not exactly, but a little bit about what we're going through right now.
Yeah, no, I get that. So, Christian, I wanted to ask you, first real question here is the name of the brand, Argos. Why Argos? What's the origin of that, and what does it mean to you?
So, in college, I was actually an art history major at one point before I got into therapy. Everybody kind of transitions through different majors, but I was always interested in mythology and archaeology, and I was really well versed in Greek mythology and Egyptology. So, back to the modeling, back in 2014, I was actually modeling for a fragrance campaign over in Prague, and somebody had contacted me and they wanted to know how it went and if I could actually make them a fragrance. And I thought, that sounds interesting. Is there any money in it? So I did some research, and the gentleman that actually approached me was actually a very, very wealthy individual, Greek origin. He owned an import-export business, owned many ships, hotels. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to come up with the name right now, and it's going to be called Argos. And it kind of tied in with the ships and the shipping industry that he was in, plus the Greek mythology. And if you're not, if you don't know about Greek mythology, the giant Argos was created by Hera, which was Zeus's wife. She created Argos to watch over Zeus because Zeus was always cheating. So he was the 100-eyed giant. There's different stories, different versions of how many eyes he had, but half of his body would stay awake. And then over a 24-hour period, part of his body would fall asleep, but he would always be awake. Part of him would always be awake and watching to make sure that Zeus wasn't doing anything he shouldn't and reporting back to Hera. So that's just one story about the name of Argos. And again, the first person that I created the fragrance for loved the name, absolutely sold it. I created 5 fragrances for him and his businesses and his family.
Wow.
And it was actually, it worked out for me because I had another friend from Morocco whose family has been in the fragrance business for over 50 years. And I was actually getting paid as I was learning. And I was, there's no other way really to start into the fragrance business, unless you're getting paid like that, because it is an expensive venture to get into.
Totally. And I wanted to ask you, just in regards to getting into being a perfumer and creating your own fragrances, how did that start for you?
Well, it was really just the one-on-one with my friend in New York, my Moroccan friend. I went back up to New York, and I would go up there once a month, and we would make fragrances, and he would send them back and forth to me, and I'd send them over to Greece, send them back, and over the period of about 3 years, that was my training. That was like on-the-job training into making fragrances. And he sent me all the raw ingredients. I set up my own little makeshift home fragrance organ, and we just went back and forth to him. And now I've got other friends that are in the fragrance community that are actually perfumers. So it's really great. When I get new ideas and things, I can always bounce them off of them, and they can give me their professional opinion because they've got 50 plus years of experience, 25 years of experience. The individuals that are friends of mine in the business. That's how I got started, getting pretty much paid as I went to develop my first fragrances.
Okay, man. Yeah, as you said, that's like the best way to start.
Salt and pepper. I've done celebrity fragrances too. I don't really do that right now. I haven't done a bespoke or private label fragrance since 2017.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, you're going head first.
Building my brand.
Exactly. Yeah, you're head first into your own thing now, which is great,
I can give all the good stuff away. For yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and next thing I wanted to ask you about was the symbolism behind the brand. I mean, I've been already seeing a lot of questions in the chat. I've been seeing questions on some of my videos of talking about your fragrance regarding the eye. And so there's a lot of mystery behind that.
All the way, Illuminati. That's a risk. It's not Illuminati. And some people have asked, well, pick a side. If it's Greek mythology, stick with all Greek mythology. If it's Egyptology or whatever, stick with that. But for me, it's one and the same. It's back to my interest in mythology, Egyptology. It is also into our heritage, our past and our history as well. So the Egyptians and the Greeks, they traded with each other. They traded knowledge. They interacted with each other. The very first fragrances, according to Egyptians, were the tears of Ra. When you think of the eye, there's lots of meaning, deeper meaning. When you think of the eye of Ra, which some people have asked, is it the Eye of Horus or is it the Eye of Ra? The Eye of Horus is I guess, associated with the moon, and Ra is the sun. Horus is more of the symbol of healing and protecting, but also Ra is as well. It's good luck, but it's more of an aggressive protecting. The Egyptians, according to mythology, when Seth ripped the eye out of Horus's head, he ripped it into 6 pieces. Okay, so you think, okay, Christian, there's only 5 senses, but the Egyptians actually took it a step further and gave it that 6th sense. So when Thoth put the Eye of Horus back together, they actually divided the eye, if you look at that symbol, into 6 parts. And they gave the sense of smell the most, I guess, the most weight. They actually gave it half of that 1/6. So,
okay.
and it kind of goes back to our senses, our 5 senses. Which is our strongest sense? Our most primal sense is our sense of smell.
Exactly.
Our sense of touch, our sense of sight, hearing. Everything has to be filtered and processed, but our sense of smell actually goes right through, and that's why it's more emotional. It's more tied to our memory. We actually can remember about 35% of what we smell versus about 4% of what we see. And we think we're visual people, which we are, but our most primal sense is actually our sense of smell. So I kind of tied in the Egypt Eye of Ra because of the tear in the first fragrance, in the first modern civilization that was actually able to cultivate ingredients and make fragrance. The Egyptians, what they would do, they would take herbs, they would take flowers, and they would actually mix it with hippo fat and crocodile fat. They would put it in their headdresses. And with the sun, it would actually melt that fat. It would actually disperse the fragrances.
Wow.
So they actually, they traded with the Greeks as well, and the Greeks took it a step further, and they actually made their fragrances as well. But, going back to, the meander, the Greek symbol around the Eye of Ra, that's kind of an infinity. It's a forever. It's also a symbol of protection and good luck as well, as well as the Eye of Ra.
Okay.
That's a little bit. That's just a touch, though. There's more meaning to it than that, but we don't have all night. And that's just a touch on it. So it's not Illuminati. It's not. I don't know anything about Egyptology and Greek mythology. But to me, it's they're very interchangeable, and they're very much a part of our civilization and our culture.
Exactly. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I know that in terms of the symbol of the eye, Horus and Ra, they're easily mistaken. But if I'm not mistaken, the Eye of Horus is actually a mirror image of the Eye of Ra. They're technically not the exact same. They are the same symbol, but they are flipped. One is the left and one is the right. So
Yeah, the right one would be Ra, and
that's
the
right.
left one would be Horus. But there's subtle differences in
Yeah.
just a little bit of the shapes.
Yeah.
But again, the Horus one is more of a protective healing,
Mm-hmm.
and Ra is a protective as well, but it's more of an aggressive, offensive protection. It's also a symbol of good luck, whereas Horus was healing one's day, one's night.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think what other major differences between the two. I described how they broke down how they divided the eye into parts and what
Yeah.
their meaning was all the way up to the sixth sense. Now, with the Eye of Ra, it's actually the female the female version of Ra. So it's called Widget, actually.
Mm.
And there's actually a story where Ra sent the eye out, he ripped the eye out and sent it to go look for his missing children. And when he came back, the eye came back, Ra had already replaced the eye with another eye. And the eye became jealous and started destroying humanity.
Mm.
So Ra had to stop that. So he actually, appeased the eye by putting it on his headdress next to a snake, and actually made it the sixth sense, so to speak.
Okay.
Even other all-seeing eye. So it appeased the eye, gave it a sense of purpose and prestige.
I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
There's a lot of stories,
Yeah.
and that's why I love mythology, and I love Egyptology and Greek mythology.
Yeah.
But they do tie in, and they do overlap.
Yeah, and I can tell that.
So we may have an Argos that has a little bit of an Egyptian flair in the future. I don't know. We'll see.
No, I dig that. Yeah, the overlap is beautiful, and obviously, you just talking about the depth of your understanding of the mythologies. It ties into your fragrances. I mean, the stories themselves, as far as I've seen and have experienced, are in your fragrances, and the scent themselves, and the presentation, and all of that. And I wanted.
When I make fragrances, I have a story in mind. I might have an idea, like I might want to create something for this time of year, or for a man, or for a woman, or something that's unisex. But above and beyond that, if I want to pick the notes, and if I want to have a sense of an emotion, which I don't know any fragrance person that would, perfumer that would create a fragrance without trying to at least elicit some sort of an emotion, or try to figure that out in the beginning while they're formulating it. But I try to actually have the story laid out before I actually create the fragrance, so I can actually help myself pick some of the notes, and ultimately achieve that response and that emotion when people smell it.
Yeah, and it's clear. And speaking of that, I wanted to dive a little bit into your first two major releases from the brand, the Pour Homme and the Pour Femme, and kind of what was behind those fragrances in regards to the stories and mythology, and how it tied into the scent. That's obviously the artistic side of it, but also from a business side. We want to know, like, how did those two come to be?
Yeah. So the Pour Homme and the Pour Femme, obviously the inaugural releases, the first two releases, I needed, especially for the Pour Homme, I wanted a freshie. I wanted something that was, a little bit creamy, something with some depth, something with the citrus top, the floral middle, and the woody musky base. Sandalwood in there. I wanted something that, was not just a freshie that kind of faded off after the first 30 minutes, but something that actually, lasted about 6 hours, something that was safe, something that, you'll see a little different. You'll see it a little different than the three new releases. It's something that's more universal. Mm-hmm. It's something that you can wear to the office, you can wear in the winter, you can wear dressed up. I needed something, at least for my first release, that I knew would be universally accepted. It's always a risk when you're starting a new brand publicly. It's a lot different than creating a bespoke fragrance. I went from somebody paying me to create a fragrance and having them deal with the packaging, deal with the marketing, deal with distribution, deal with all those expenses. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of expenses when you create a fragrance and you have to design a box, design a logo, design a whole brand. I mean, it takes years, and you have to have a clear vision, and sometimes it changes a little bit, but you have to have a lot of capital and a lot of patience. You have to have a lot of direction and insight to create an actual brand versus just a fragrance.
Exactly.
With the Pour Homme, I wanted something that was high quality. I wanted something, as my first fragrance, when somebody smelled it, a freshie that's going to last, a freshie that's universally acceptable, something that, it'll kind of put me on the map and get me on the radar, but it'll be universally accepted. The Pour Femme was actually something that I made for my wife, and it was something that it's like catnip to me. So I was like, okay, I gotta release this one. I have to get it out. You know, I love this scent. It's powerful. These are both, all my fragrances are eau de parfum. So you're going to get 20% oil to 80% alcohol. But this one right here, if I'm in the other room and she sprays it, I can smell it instantly. I'm trained and I can pick up on things across the room usually anyways, but, you know, it's just certain things. And now it's got that memory. It's almost like Pavlov's dogs. It's like, it just
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And, you know, and I went with the gold and the white and the silver and the black for the men. But you know, I went with very safe in my eyes fragrances with the first two, just because I wanted to get on the map. I wanted to show that I was quality, but I also wanted to be universally accepted. A lot of, you know, some of the niche, they're great fragrances, but you kind of back yourself into a wall. They might be only useful or used in one situation, one purpose, and then, you know, they sit back on the shelf and you got 50 more that you're picking out. I wanted something that people could grab anytime.
Yeah. And
but that bottle all the time. And people reorder that one constantly because it's just universal.
Yeah.
You can even layer the new ones with it. So it's just, I think I did a smart thing by doing that, and that's basically why I did it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I can only imagine being a new brand trying to break in, you know, to break in that way. Yeah, it's a strong and smart move, and you're giving people something really versatile and easy to wear, something they don't have to think about, and it's enjoyable, and it hooks them, and they want to know more, and they want to see what's coming next. So I think that was a really, really great idea, and I thoroughly enjoyed both of those releases. And I got to say, I love the Pour Homme, but the effect that the Pour Femme has on me, it's always been so intoxicating. So I totally agree with you, man.
Yeah, the Pour Femme it's interesting. If I had to do it over, I would never do a Pour Homme or a Pour Femme or paint a specific label on any type of fragrance, you know, gender-wise.
Yeah.
Everybody, the fragrance community has changed. It has definitely changed in the last 10 years, 5 years even. People wear what they want to wear. I would say about 25 of my orders of the Pour Homme are from women, and vice versa. 25% of my Pour Femme orders are from men, because it just has this warming amber quality that is universally liked. I mean, the Pour Femme's got violet, bergamot, ginger, lemon. It does have some citrus to it as well, but it's just got that warming amber quality to it that I think a lot of men kind of gravitate towards as well. But I mean, don't worry. I do have another fragrance that's going to be amber heavy and honey coming.
Okay.
But I've got 7 more that they're in various stages of completion. But you know, I needed to get these out, and let's just see what happens with the rest of 2020. I'd like to get a do-over on 2020, but hey. You just got to roll with the punches.
Exactly.
I'm happy with these releases. I had to get them out, even though this year has kind of been strange. But the way that things have been going in all regards, I'm about to sell out of the Triumph of Bacchus. I fully expect it to be sold out in the next week, and then followed by the Baccio Immortale, and then followed by the Per Vita Delicata. So it's, you roll with the punches, you know, you put out quality, people will gravitate towards it.
That's right, Yeah, and then
when on, I'll release more.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue. I wanted to jump into the 3 new releases, which are pretty hot right now, and really just briefly, if you can talk about the inspiration behind the 3 in terms of the imagery and the names and how the scent correlates to those things.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Are you able to see people when they ask questions and they?
I'm able to see it here. Yeah.
Since this is our show, we should do a little bit of giveaway as people are watching. We'll do some bigger ones toward the end.
Sure.
But let's do a sample pack.
Okay.
For the first person that can, let's just throw something out there. Let's go with the name Argos. Name an animal and in 5 words or less how it's related to the name and brand Argos. Pick an animal but it has to actually relate to the name Argos in mythology.
Okay.
Leave it at that. I'll let you keep an eye on it. So they got to name it an animal in 5 words or less, how it relates to Argos.
Got it. I'll keep an eye on these comments.
They get a sample pack.
All right.
So the 3 new ones, they're new to y'all, but they're the ones that I've been working behind the scenes on for years, especially the Triumph of Bacchus. And we'll start with that one because it's the first one that I kind of touted and put out there. It's doing phenomenal right now. Like I said, it's about to sell out. This one right here, I call it the Triumph of Bacchus, but it's really the triumph of me. And I keep telling people because it took 3 years to make this fragrance. It's one of those situations where you kind of overdo things, you overthink it, and then you realize you go back and you kind of rediscover something. I don't know if you've ever done something to the point where you just didn't like it, you didn't want to have to deal with it. You put it in a box and you put it in the corner. You say, I'm going to come back to this.
Yes.
You don't throw it away. There's something there, but and that's basically what happened with the Triumph of Bacchus. I think I worked on that thing solid for about 1.5 years, like always in my mind. And the more I worked on it, the worse it got. I think at one point it was so nauseating to me. It was like warp remover. But I went back, I pulled up some of my earliest formulations, and I kind of rediscovered it. And I was like, wow, why didn't I stop when I was ahead? And that's basically what I did. I pulled it out of the archives. I sent it out. I got a couple of my fragrance community friends to send me some other ingredients because now I have my lab in France. So now I have a whole new catalog of ingredients at my disposal, which is great, phenomenal. Any perfumers that are here in the United States, they can relate on how difficult it is getting some of the natural raw ingredients here in the United States, how expensive it is, how difficult it is. But like I said, now I'm opening up my new lab in France. It was actually supposed to open up after Essence. I was supposed to be in Milan next week, and then Monaco, and then in Nice, where my new lab is. But again, that's on hold indefinitely, but I do have the access to the new natural ingredients. So the Triumph of Bacchus, this one is just a powerhouse of notes in here. You've got, saffron, patchouli, you've got leather, you've got tobacco. Any of these notes in any right could overpower and be the forerunner of any of these fragrances. But it's just a beautifully blended fragrance, and I think that's one of the keys with this particular scent is just the maceration process, the time that goes into letting it mature and the time to blending it and getting it right. Pairing it with the peach and the apple was just, at the time I didn't realize it, but it was really quite genius getting that fruitiness in it, that saffron. So it's got that exotic Moroccan vibe, which is kind of indicative of where I started with my first fragrance experience, working with my friend from Morocco. And then getting the apple and the peach in there, and then, getting some of the jasmine and the patchouli, and then also getting it into the leather and the tobacco. It's just a beautifully blended unisex fragrance. So this one actually is loved by both men and women. I've actually had a lot of women order this one too. Part of the reason why it is selling out so fast. So again, back to the god of the personification on the front, the plate, the artwork that is Bacchus, also known as Dionysus, the god of fun, the god of wine, the god of mischief, the god of misfits. And to me, it personified the fragrance. It's a very regal, it's a very royal fragrance. It's a fun fragrance. This is something that it is very universal. You can wear this in the summer, but on cooler nights, I wouldn't wear this in the summer when it's 90 degrees out and you're wearing shorts. This is something that you're going to want to wear on cooler summer nights, but definitely in the spring, definitely in the fall, and absolutely in the winter. Anytime you're dressing up, the sillage or the sillage on this one, you're going to get 6 to 8 feet. People are going to notice. People are going to turn their heads. This is so different. And part of my particular process, and it's a blessing and a curse, I don't smell other fragrance houses. I used to have a huge, catalog of fragrances because I was a frag head too. But I find that kind of pollutes my nose and kind of messes with my mind a little bit, and I don't want anybody saying, well, this was a flanker of this, or this was a clone of this. I don't take anything from anybody else as far as my inspiration for my fragrances. It's purely about the story. It's purely about the 7 or 8 different variations of projects that I've got going on at any given time, and where I want to take that. So this one was, again, something, a blast from the past that I took out. It was a jackpot for me, and it is my triumph. It is the triumph of Bacchus, and it is a regal, fun fragrance that I think anybody can enjoy. This one, men or women.
Man.
I can't say enough about it. I love it. It's just a very regal fragrance.
I mean, everything you said about it resonates with me in terms of my experience with it thus far, and with my review that I did. I mean, you know, and those who have actually went out and bought it or even sampled it since have said nothing but the same.
We've gone through 100 sample packs in the last 8 days.
That's incredible.
I'm going to have to bust open another bottle, which I hate to do. Sample, and it's 100 ml.
Yeah.
It is, again, it's 20% oil to alcohol. So, you know, I'm going to get about, for those 2 ml sprays, I'm going to get 50 of them out of there. So.
Okay.
I'm running low.
Yeah, I believe it. And
but you know,
people are loving it. And I wanted to take a moment and address some of the comments here. So we did get a handful of comments. The first one that came in was from Jeremy B079, and he said a dog. All right. And I was like, okay, that's what he said.
Anybody else?
Yeah, so from there we had someone say owl. It sees things in darkness.
Okay.
And then the rest of the comments are surrounded about the dog. So we have Wallace Robinson said the dog, Argos, is Odysseus' faithful dog.
Okay.
Odysseus' dog, to be specific. Jeremy came back and said that. Christian said Argos is associated with dogs. So yeah, we see a lot of dogs here. But obviously you are the decider of what is...
Whoever the first one to respond. Who was the first person to say that it was a dog?
It was Jeremy B079.
Okay, so get his information at the end and we'll get him a sample pack. So I'm going to elaborate a little bit.
Yeah.
The owl is it's associated with a totally different Greek goddess, actually. I won't go into that. So as it relates to Ulysses' dog, if anybody's read the Iliad by Homer or the Odyssey by Homer, first there was the Iliad, and then after the Greek and Trojan War, there was the Odyssey.
Yeah. So
that kind of relates into the boat Argos. That was one of the boats that they were traveling on. But going back to the dog, that was Ulysses' dog. So when he was gone for for the war and then his travels afterwards, when he came back, everybody thought he was dead. It had been at least 10 years. There were suitors trying to marry his wife.
That's right.
He was haggard. His dog was laying in a pile. He was blind. He was deaf. He was laying in a pile of dung. And, he was basically dying, the dog, Ulysses' dog. And Ulysses came in, and wouldn't you know it, the dog's sense of smell was still good. And the dog could smell his master, couldn't see him, couldn't hear him, but he lifted his head up one last time to recognize his master because he could smell him, and then he died. So whoever saw the dog, and that it totally relates to that sense of smell. So again, that's another reason why I chose the name Argos, because of the dog.
Yeah, I love it. Wow. Yeah, that's incredible, and I do remember that from the story. So Jeremy, here's what you can do. If you have Instagram, you can find me at Stay Fresh Productions, or you can email me. My email should be in the description of the video. If not now, then afterwards. It's thestayfreshproductions@gmail.com. Reach out to me so I know it's you. And we'll get you in touch with Christian and get you that sample pack.
Get you a sample pack.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, which fragrance next?
All right, so again, that was the first one that I kind of got out there. The second one that I've kind of been introducing to people is the Baccio Immortale. And again, people will kind of like, okay, what's with these names? What's going on with that? And I hear people butcher them all the time. That's fine. It's funny, but it is the immortal kiss, or kiss of eternity, and it's personified by Eros or Cupid and Psyche. And
Yeah.
what I was going for this one was I wanted an oud, I wanted a leather, and a lot of leathers I can't really wear. They're too animalic. And I'll go into the difference between animalic and animalistic. Okay, for me, anyways, that's two different definitions, and I'll explain that later.
Okay.
But I wanted something that was very universal, not just unisex, but something that I could wear in the summer. And again, a lot of the leathers and a lot of the ouds are really dark, they're really heavy, they can be ashy, they can be aggressive, irritating to some people, and they're not very universal. They're not something that you pick up in a moment's notice, no matter what the season or what the occasion. This one right here, I wanted something that had, you got a lot of rose ouds out there.
Quite
a lot of them.
Just a few.
Like, that's out there. I don't really smell anybody else's up, but this is what I wanted to do. I wanted something that's got freshness in it, bergamot, lemon, pepper, but also it's got some jasmine, some violet, and then it's got the oud, and it's got the leather, but it's such a supple leather, and the oud is just a trace of it. It's almost like a summertime oud. And originally that was going to be the theme that I was going for, the summertime oud. And I'm very pleased with how this came out. And the reason I gave it the raspberry, just that touch of raspberry, was because Cupid is playful. Cupid is a little mischievous, and I was like thinking to myself, okay, we got to get this right. We got to do something a little different to set this one off. So I gave it a very, very natural, very fun, very sweet touch of raspberry in there. So that's going to give you the uniqueness to this one. Not only is it unisex, not only is it universal, you can wear an oud, a leather fragrance in the summertime, but it's got that little sweet kiss.
Yes, it does.
Raspberry in there, and it just sets it off. It sets it apart. I've heard it described as delectable, delicious. You could take it from there, from your first experiences, where I would describe this one as intoxicating with the rum,
totally,
and the apple and the peach and everything. This one I would say is delicious.
Yeah, and I got it right here in front of me. And wow, every time. I totally agree. Yeah,
Because my wife is my guinea pig sometimes. So I was like, do I really want to smell this on a woman? And I was like, yes, I can totally dig this on a woman, and I can totally wear it and get compliments myself. And it's so rare that that's a genuine, like you hear unisex a lot, and it's really a stretch. A lot of fragrance will say this is unisex. Like my pour homme, for example. Pour homme means for men. Okay. Yeah. Granted, now some women enjoy it, and that's great, but that wasn't what its intention was. Now this was truly, that was what I sought out for, and I think I really hit it on the head quite quickly. To be honest with you, this formulation did not take long to make. Whereas the Triumph of Bacchus was back and forth, and I had to forget about it to come back to it and appreciate it again. Yeah. This was something that, within 6 months, I was able to produce this fragrance.
Wow.
It only took about 3 batches to get it right. So it's just sometimes it happens like that, and then sometimes it happens like this.
Totally, yeah. I mean, with the creative process in any form or field or medium, that's how it is. Sometimes it just comes right out and it's like, oh, it's done. And sometimes it's like, I don't like this at all. What am I doing with my life?
It is very emotional.
Yeah.
It is emotional for me, and I have a very, heightened sense of smell, and a lot of you do as well. So, sometimes you're battling different emotions going in and different memories of different things, kind of like when I said wart remover on that one. Why? And that was probably version 110 at that point, and I was putting so much effort and time into it. And again, that also gave me some resentment towards the fragrance when I was making it, because it was so dang difficult.
Yeah, totally.
Just discover it after forgetting about it for a while, and sometimes you got to do that in life, with certain things. You just got to put it aside, forget about it, and come back. But again, I really love this one. I wear this one quite often. Again, it's very universal. It fits a lot of occasions, checks a lot of the boxes.
Yes, it does. I mean, for a leather scent. I mean, it is, in my opinion, like one of the most beautifully unisex leather-based fragrances that I've smelled. And, myself, I've been trying to kind of get away from gendering fragrances in my own perception. Fragrances have personality more than anything to me, more than gender. But I do know that there are a lot of women who, when they hear leather fragrance, they're on there like, oh, I don't know, maybe that's going to be too manly or too masculine. But this is one that you got to try, ladies. You got to check it out.
And that was, a little bit of a, I don't want to say that was like a boastful thing or something, but it was like in the back of my mind when I was creating this line, I was thinking to myself, what is something to challenge myself in this process? I had, like I said, I've got 7 or 8 different other side projects going on as well, but I was like, leather. And again, I don't smell other people's stuff, but I have. I've smelled some of the stuff that's been out for years, some of the memos and some of the Tom Fords and stuff.
Yeah.
And, they're very specific and they're very sometimes abrasive and they're, animalic. And again, I'll talk about that as well. But I was like, you know what? Let's do something difficult. And I think leather is a difficult note to work with if you want to make it universal. If you want to make it something that people could just grab it and wear it in any occasion. Especially if you want to make it unisex. I don't know many leather unisex fragrances unless it was specifically a feminine leather, and that's what the goal was, not unisex.
Yeah.
All 3 of these fragrances actually have leather in them.
Yeah, that's right.
People that aren't familiar with the 3 new ones, just know that right now leather is in these, but it's not like any leather that you've ever smelled before and not ever experienced leather before. I'm not saying that you're not going to get some memory or some faint remembrance of another fragrance that's leather in them, but for what I set them out, the goal, unisex, something that could be equally 50-50 worn by men and women, I think I definitely accomplished that with the Baccio Immortale. Even with the Triumph of Bacchus. Like I said, there's a lot of powerhouse notes in there that could easily tip the scale one way or the other in that fragrance, but the maceration, the blending process, is just done so beautifully in that one that it can be pulled off. Now, when we get to the beautiful beast, I like to call it, you actually have this one coming in the mail. So do me a favor, don't smell this one. I know you got a sample pack, but don't smell it again. I want to get your first spray on air when you do.
Okay.
And I want to give it, just a little shout out, hello to some of the other fragrance reviewers out there, Kuba, Chris, Fragmental, Cologne here in Dallas, Joe sent me, Incense. A lot of y'all have been helping me get the word out, and that's the main thing, not being in a lot of stores. And again, I don't know if you're going to bring this up later, but I think you are. We're going to touch on the market and the state of things, especially with COVID-19 and the shelter in place and the 6-foot difference. And that, there's a whole new terminology coming in. People are actually asking me on a daily basis, will people be able to smell this 6 feet away? Am I going to be able to adhere to this? Joe.
Wow.
I had I think I told you, I had a private buyer this morning. We did a live feed where people were actually buying online. And we'll touch on that a little bit later too, how I'm adapting to the current changes in the fragrance market and retail in general. I had a buyer in from China. They were speaking Mandarin Chinese. I had a translator. We did a Zoom meeting. It was fantastic. And that's another reason why I'm selling out. You just gotta adapt and change with the times. I mean, literally, I was supposed to be in Milan right now, meeting with people, fragrance reviewers over there, and buyers, different boutiques. And we can touch on that too as well. The wholesale cost versus the retail cost and that whole different type of marketing. But again, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, yeah, we're coming back to it.
I went off in a tangent.
Yeah, no, we're coming back to that whole side of things that we're dealing with.
Nobody else is going out to party. The clubs aren't open, right?
Not that I've seen. I mean, you might break in. You'll be the only one in there, smelling great. But
well, let's do a little segment then. Let's do another animal that's related to Argos, the brand. Again, name an animal, has to be related specifically to the brand Argos, and it has to be in 5 words or less. First person.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on the comments.
The next person. You can't just throw out random animals.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye here on the comments then. And in the meantime, did you want to give us a little bit about Brivido here?
So Brevida della Caccia. And again, why did I go with the Italian names? Well, I'm half Italian, Calverte, Sicilian, that's my part of the family, and then the other part is Russian, that's the Petrovich, which means son of Peter. So I had to play off the heritage, and maybe at some point I'll do some Russian as well, but we'll see. So again, with the leather theme, I could never really wear leathers. I could never really enjoy them, and for this beautiful beast is what I call it. You got top notes of pink pepper, sage, matte absolute, which if you don't know, it's kind of like a tea. It's got eau de fleur, which gives it this effervescence, and it goes into some of these new ingredients that I'm getting out of France that I never had access to, just being located here in the United States. It's just a supple, beautiful leather, but it has this freshness, this uplifting effervescence to it. When I say animalic, when I reference that, and I reference a fragrance, and I say, okay, well, that has a very animalic leather, I think of animals. I think of, very dark, kind of hard to wear. But when I say animalistic, I think of the term attraction, something that I have to have, something that I gotta get it for it. I can't keep my hands off, or I can't be away from it. This is a boss fragrance. This is a beast of a fragrance. This one is, again, eau de parfum just like the rest, but it has a longevity, and it's got a good sillage about it. This one you're gonna smell, again, just like the Triumph. This one you're gonna smell about 6 feet. This one you're gonna smell about 8, and this one you're gonna get about 8 to 10. And again, it's got this uplifting effervescence leather to it. It's very attracting. Not dark. It's not very ashy. It's a beautiful leather. It's not going to be something that you're going to wear in the summertime per se, unless you got a suit on and you're dressed to the nines and you're going out and it's a nice cool summer night. But you're definitely going to wear this one in the winter. You're definitely going to wear this one. This is like the power suit scent. This one is definitely going to get you noticed.
Man. Yeah, I gotta say, I have smelled it, but I smelled it. You sent me a sample pack over a year, maybe almost a year ago now. And
that was before I did the pre-launch, and
that's right. And
I kind of put a few of them out there to some people that I knew in the community just to get some feedback. And the feedback that I got. Anybody that responded was like, "Wow, this is different. This is something like, wow, you're doing something. I didn't know you could do this." Argos has not been out there, but I do have that in the repertoire, and I do have it in the catalog, and I do have more things to come. But it was time to not play it safe anymore. It was time to actually get some nuanced, niche quality fragrances out there that were. But you know what? I say that, but I still feel these are very universal. I still feel that you're not going to get stuck into this is only going to be worn in this specific situation when the temperature is just right and I'm wearing this specific outfit. I never intended for that for any of these. I wanted to go as universal as possible. I mean, I even went unisex on a leather. This one's unisex as well. I wouldn't consider this one as unisex. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some of the women that actually do like it. But I would consider this one as the very masculine boss fragrance.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to describe, how your nose's memory. Like, I smelled that one. I did a live video, or I did a live first impression on my Instagram of the 3 new fragrances. And in my nose's memory, I can remember the way it made me feel. And I do remember being thoroughly surprised by it.
That's why I don't want you to smell it again.
Yes, exactly.
The bottle in the hand, and I want to talk about the bottles, and I get sidetracked a lot, but the bottles were another total labor of love, and I needed to have something that was fitting for these fragrances. If you're going to have good quality juice, if you're going to have a fragrance that's unique and expensive and niche, you got to have a bottle to put it in.
Yeah.
And so I made a custom bottle. I actually have a 3D printer. It took me about a year to actually get it right. I wanted to, kind of, stick with that theme of the Greek or Roman column.
Yeah.
Something that was upright,
Totally.
something that was rectangular in shape. But then I threw in some subtle differences too. I knew I wanted to have the Argos debossed. I wanted to include as many of our senses as we possibly can in the experience, right?
Yeah.
So now you can actually, if you were blind or you weren't seeing and you just randomly grabbed the bottle, you would actually feel the Argos at the bottom.
Exactly.
And you probably think you were grabbing onto a dumbbell because the thing weighs over a pound.
It does. It's heavy.
If you don't have any weights because Amazon sold out or whatever, you just grab your bottle of Argos or some shrub. It's a substantial bottle, and I always wanted that, and it's hand polished, so it's going to shine like crystal on there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a labor of love. I didn't think I was going to get these, and that's why I kind of snuck out some of the sample packs, because I didn't know if I was going to get the bottles in before Christmas. And so I kind of did some pre-sales, and luckily I was able to get a few of them in. I don't know if people have noticed, but it actually has an inlay in the glass, and it has a plaque.
Yeah.
And it's not a sticker. It's not a piece of paper or a piece of plastic. It's actually metal. It's just like a medallion or a coin. I designed it as well as some of it's based on actual works of art and antiquity. This one right here is actually in Germany. There's a kind of on a statue. There's Bacchus and Adrian, his wife. And they've got panthers, and it was modeled after that.
Yeah, totally.
And this one, everybody knows this one's Bacchus because it's in the name, and this one's Cupid and Psyche. This one right here, even though it's a masculine scent, I went with the goddess Artemis or Diane, depending if Roman or Greek. But she was the goddess of hunt, the goddess of chastity. She was very short-tempered. The story behind this, and that I really wanted to channel, was the story of the hunter Aceton, and when he's going through the woods on a hunt with his dogs, and he happens upon Artemis and her nymphs bathing in a pool. Mm-hmm. So he comes across, he's coming through a clearing, and there she is naked, and she sees him and she freaks out. Now she's very short-tempered, so what does she do? She turns him into a stag, and hound dog rip them apart. So how raw and earthy and animalistic can you get from that? It's a very brutal story if you were to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I love that story. That's part of the reason why I love some of the Greek mythology, and kind of channeled that into this fragrance. However, I didn't go with the animalic. I went with the more animalistic.
Yes.
The god chastity in the name, the thrill of the chase. Now that's a double meaning right there. So the thrill of the chase, when a man is pursuing a woman, the thrill of the chase is what keeps you going sometimes. And that's why a lot of guys are single for so long. They just love that thrill of the chase. So there's a lot of meaning behind the name Perdita de la Caccia.
Okay. Yeah.
I have that as well. And some people get it, some people don't. But again, that's why I'm explaining it to you.
Yeah, I love it. I wanted to take a moment to address some of the comments that we got with the most previous question here. We're looking at, again, the question was another animal related to Argos. The first one that came in was falcon.
Okay.
After that was peacock, which is Hera's favorite animal. And then someone guessed eagle. We have cat. We have tiger. Owl again. The lion, fierce, lion, peacock, tiger, jaguar.
First one to say peacock.
First one to say peacock. That was, where is that? TZ Frank. He said peacock is Hera's favorite animal.
Okay. Well, it is Hera's favorite animal, but that's not why. But they still win. They're still going to get a sample pack, and I'll explain why I related it to Argos.
Okay.
So Argos again was the 100-eyed giant that Hera created to watch over Zeus. So she created to immortalize Argos. Okay, let's back up a little bit. Argos was actually killed by Mercury. Zeus was kind of getting upset. He wasn't able to do, he couldn't do it dirty. And so he sent Hermes or Mercury over to play his magical flute because, Argos would never sleep. Half of his body would always be awake.
Yeah.
So he sent him over, and he kind of befriended him a little bit, took out his flute, and started playing, and then Argos fell asleep, and then cut his head off. So to immortalize and thank Argos for his service, she created a peacock. So whenever the peacock fans its feathers, and you see all those dots and those eyes, those are the eyes of Argos.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah. I love that.
Argos.
Yeah. Wow.
No, they get us back. And again, they can DM you on Instagram and
exactly. I'm gonna put my Instagram and my email in the description of the video. And I just saw that Jeremy had said that he follows me on Instagram, so he will contact me. TZ Frank. Once again, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can, or you can email me, and we'll get you your sample pack for that. Okay, I wanted to, you got a lot of things here on this table, which is beautiful. I wanted to just briefly ask about some of the other products that Argos offers besides just perfume.
Sure. And again, like I said, I've got other things in the work. We're just kind of seeing how 2020 works out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wearing leather at the end of the year with a gun, a sawed-off shotgun. We don't know.
Yeah.
I might be using the fragrance to light fires. I don't know.
Exactly, right? Hopefully we won't be drinking them.
I'm pretty certain everything will be fine. We just kind of got to wait this out. And, we're all going to smell great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, incubating.
Some of the products, we mentioned the Pour Homme and the Pour Femme and the 3 new ones. The sample pack that's been going out, it's been selling like crazy. Just, it is the price point again for the new ones anyways. I don't know if people know, it's $225 for the 3 new ones, and then $175 for the originals. Again, you're going to get the same eau de parfum, same quality. It's just I upgraded the bottle significantly. And, who knows, in the future I might throw when the bottles are out from the original Pour Homme and Pour Femme, those are going to be around for a long time. Like, I still get so many repeat orders. We may, develop a piece of artwork plate and throw those in a new bottle as well. We'll see.
Yeah.
So the other products that I've got, we did come up with the Pure Canine Crystal oil dabbers. So these actually, they have the Argos logo floating inside the glass. It's not etched on the outside. It's actually floating inside. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
How does that look? I can't tell.
I'm not sure if it's going to be too visible from that.
Closer,
if we can get it right up there, we'll be able to see it. Man, it's lovely.
So I don't know if you can see that, but the logo is actually on the inside.
Yeah.
And these are actually numbered, and I've engraved my signature on the side. So these are a limited edition. I don't sell these. I have some private buyers that that quite often buy me out. They buy all 5 fragrances, and I throw one of these in there as a thank you.
Yeah.
But this is for the pure oil. So these are like a dabber. So you're going to put the pure oil in here, and then you're just going to put it on your pressure points as your body heats up. It's going to, disperse the fragrance out there, and it's very potent. People that don't like alcohol fragrances or alcohol in their fragrance, and they want the pure oil. I've got the dabber right here, and it does come in a nice wooden box. Here.
Beautiful.
And it actually, it's platinum, so it's got black, and it's actually like a lacquer finish, very shiny.
Yeah.
It's in there really nice in a nice bed. This might be something that I do release on its own, and you'll be able to click on the drop-down menu and just select whichever one of the 5 fragrances of the pure oil, and that's how it will come.
That is beautiful. Wow. Stunning.
So that's the pure oil. And then another product that I've recently released that not a lot of people know about is the Rollerball Minis. So what is that? It's a rollerball. So it also has the pure oil in it as well. And it's got a stainless steel ball bearing in there. So you can actually use the pure oil and, use it on your wrist, your neck, pressure points as well. But very easy to travel with. And again, for people who they don't want the spray, or they want something that's a little more potent, that's the pure oil of all these fragrances. And I have it available in a sample pack. It's not really a sample pack. It is what it is. It's the Rollerball Mini Oil Pack. It's So all 5, and it comes in a baggie like this with the Argos logo. And this one's leather, but the one that I'm selling online actually is just like it. It comes like this, only it's black and it's felt.
Okay.
That's a very new release. A lot of people don't realize that, and I haven't really told many people about it, but I would. Actually sold a bunch of those this morning.
Awesome.
The travel atomizers that we have, I mean, this is nothing new to the industry. If you've been decanting or if you travel a lot, this one's kind of like a Trivago, but it has the Argos logo on it. Again, you just take the cap off, take the sprayer off, and you can pump it. This one holds 70 sprays. So, if you're traveling for a week, this is the perfect thing to get with it. I think right now you can add one of these onto your order, any order for like $5. So it's a nice travel item to, go with if you don't want to bring your whole bottle, especially if you're at 49 pounds and you don't want to pay the extra charges at the airport, which nobody's traveling right now anyway.
Right.
Bottle, and you're just gone for a few days, take the bullet atomizer and charge that up. One thing that's actually selling quite a bit right now is, since everybody's stuck at home, is the candle. Now, this is a 400 ml, 90-hour burn movie candle. So this one is going to be a fragrance candle. It's different than a lot of the Bath and Body Works. A lot of synthetics go into those. This one is actually made out of the same oil that I use for the Port Femme.
Okay. Ooh.
And, it took me about 6-7 months to make.
Yeah.
I went with some pretty prestigious candle makers to try and attempt to make this. And some of the difficulties in making a candle that doesn't use a lot of synthetics and uses a lot of natural wax is getting a good throw. Now, when we talk about fragrances in perspective to body fragrance, you talk about sillage or sillage. When you talk about candles, you talk about throw, the hot throw. How far away can you smell it? Does it fill up a room? Is it a 500 square foot room? Is it a This one right here is a powerful, beautiful fragrance. It's a perfect match to the Port Femme. So, as much as men love smelling this on a woman, and some men actually love wearing this, you're going to love smelling your house smelling like this, or your apartment or your room smelling like this. This one has an amazing throw. This will fill up a 500 square foot room, no problem. Again, 90-hour burn time. It's a very substantial candle. It does come in white with the gold oil logo, just like the perfume does.
Yeah.
And it comes in the white crocodile box to match the box. And just try to keep things uniform.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Beautiful. I love this. I've always got one burning. And then let's see, what else do we got here?
You got diffusers, right?
Yeah, you may have noticed on either side of me the black and the silver chrome diffusers here. So what is diffusion? What is scent diffusion? Now, it's actually a substantial part of one of my other businesses, which is scent marketing, and I've been doing that for quite a while privately as well. I have about 20 buildings here in Dallas alone that I work with the business owners under scent marketing. It depends on the brand, but a lot of them are office buildings, and they want something fresh when people walk in. They want something uplifting, and they want to get people in a good mood when they're coming to do business. So I have scent diffusers. What is scent diffusion? So we're cold air diffusion. There's no heat. You don't have to light anything up. There's no burner on the inside of this. It doesn't use electricity to heat anything up to diffuse the fragrance. It actually micro-ionizes the fragrance into small, fine particles. And I'm going to touch this button, and you might be able to actually see the mist come across here in just a moment.
Okay.
I've got the porum in there, so I'm just going to bask in the porum here. But what it does, it actually breaks the particles down. This is pure oil. It's not like the humidifiers. You can get those on Amazon really cheap. Put water in it, put a couple drops of whatever oil or essential oil or whatever, it diffuses out. You can probably start seeing that. But this one, with no water, no heat, it's pure oil.
Wow.
Very efficient. This one particular right here has a 100 ml bottle. This one has 120 ml. And lasts a long, long time because you don't have the water, you don't have any evaporation. It's pure oil. This one right here, I probably had about 10 ml in it for about the last 4 months. And I use it for all my demos. So it just lasts and lasts. Now, you're not going to want, I had one client buy it, and they asked me why. They went through the oil so fast. I was like, when are you using it? well, I turn it on and I leave it on all day. I'm like, is it at home or there? I thought I was just supposed to turn it on. I was like, no. Why would you turn it on? You know, one of those common sense things. If you're not home, why would you be? These are so efficient. They're going to fill up the room in less than a minute. It's not like a candle where you kind of got to wait for the wax at the surface to kind of melt and wait for the throw. These are going to fill the room right away. So this one right here is just a touch. And I'm going to bring it a little closer so you can see it.
Yeah.
You might be able to see, I don't know if you can or not, the mist.
You can kind of see it. I can kind of see it.
With a darker background, you can probably see it better. But, I mean, it just fills the room, and it's instant. And this one's the touch one, so as soon as you touch the power button, it's going to come on. You can control the density and how long. So if I touch it at the 1, the 2 hour, the 4 hour, the 8 hour, it's going to turn off coincidingly to whatever the button you push.
Man.
Let that one go. But, I mean, it's powerful. You smell it instantly. It'll fill the room.
Man, it looks so
right
elegant.
here. Like I said, it's similar to that one. It also comes in silver as well. This one also comes in black. So they both come in silver and black, and they have the Argos logo engraved on the front. This one is touch as well, but this one takes it a step further. This one actually has an app, so you can program it with your phone. So this is great for small businesses. If you got a doctor's office, a dentist's office, whatever have you, and you've got a 600 square foot lobby or whatever it is, you can just program this one on your phone. It can come on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, whenever your office is open, whatever time, and you can control the density. Even at your home, this is great. You don't have to think about it. If you've got employees, tell them not to touch it. It does its own thing. You can control it, and it's by Bluetooth. I do have other ones that work with Wi-Fi, so you can control them anywhere in the world, which is great. For my office buildings, that's what I have. So I have an app. I just scroll through, select the building, the address, and I can actually control when it's on and off and how strong it is, and how many days a week, whatever have you. So it's great. It saves me a lot of time. These are awesome for the home setting. They're very efficient, like I said, and they work on the pure oil. They don't have any water vapor or anything. There's no heat, so it's great for apartments. If you live in a complex that says, hey, we don't allow incense, we don't allow candles. I own rental property. I think I mentioned I own property. I had one of my properties almost burned down 4 years ago because somebody came home. They had a bartending job or something, I don't know, but they came home late, lit a couple candles, had a couple drinks, went to sleep. Next thing you know, they wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and the house is on fire.
Oh my goodness.
You're not gonna get that with these. Like I said, if you just turn this one on by default, it shuts off after an hour. There's no heat. There's no risk of fire. So super safe, very efficient, and they work on the pure oil. So that's another product that I've been working on and on the side, but very well as well. Hopefully it'll do better when things reopen and the businesses start opening up again.
Yes.
For some bigger businesses, I do have subscription because I do go out on a monthly basis and I refill the diffusers that they purchase.
Okay.
If you go to the Argos website, you'll see a few of the options that I have available. But for some of the businesses, when they contact me, I have about 20 different models depending on their needs.
Okay. Man, well, thank you for sharing that.
What else don't I do? Let's see.
Yeah, seriously.
I wasn't going to say, these I've been working on. These are kind of prototypes. But let's talk about some of the exotic leathers. I wanted to get into the men's accessories and women's handbags, and that's something that I was planning on getting into this spring. But with the way things are, we're going to see how this Christmas works.
Yeah.
I'm going to so that you can actually see these a little closer.
All right.
We'll go through just the men's accessories. So we'll start out with the men's wallet. And these are exotic leathers, so this one's actually genuine.
Ooh, that is eye-catching.
Right here.
That's incredible.
Okay.
Wow.
We do have the card holder money clips as well. This is the emerald green crocodile.
Okay.
With the clip combo, which is what I personally use because I need to have a couple cards with me and a little bit of cash with me.
Yeah.
Another one when I travel, and I'll show you that one in a moment. That's more of a traveler's billfold wallet, like a long wallet.
That's classy.
The Stingray, this one's pretty much indestructible.
Okay, nice. Yeah, it's classy. I like it.
There's the black crocodile.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know you were getting into making fine leather products like that. I had no idea. This is a total surprise to me. This is cool.
Yeah, actually, back in my other world when I was doing more modeling, I actually did suits like this suit that I'm wearing right now. I made this one. I make all my own suits, and when things turn around, I might actually delve back into the custom suits as well. So This is the long wallet. This one has the holder for the phone.
Nice.
It's got the RF blocking, in the inside stitched in so people can't steal your card information. The billfolds here. Secret pocket right there.
Wow.
And again, it's genuine crocodile. It's not leather stamped.
Okay. It's the real deal.
It's the real deal, yeah.
Yeah. And I see some comments of people asking where to buy the products. I mean, I would imagine all the fragrance-based products we've talked about are at the website by Argos. In fact, there should be a link in the description right now of the video. In regards to the other products you've just discussed, are those readily available at the moment as well?
The long wallet that I just showed you, I'm actually working on 3 different variations with titanium, platinum, and gold for the actual Argos logo that's going to go on there. Okay. That was going to be quite expensive, and the other ones, the prototypes are ready. I'm just kind of waiting for things to kind of open back up again. I'm hoping by fall I can release these on the website and start producing them. I've already got some pre-orders, but again, I told people I'm not kind of pushing those back until more towards Christmas this year. The diffusers are available now. Okay. I think I've got a few of these touch ones available left, and then I've got I've got a few of these, a few more of the Bluetooth-enabled ones.
Okay.
They're going to run about $250. I'm probably going to, actually, I didn't tell you this, but I sent you one. It's actually coming.
What? I was just thinking in my head, it's like, man, I want to get me one of those.
I can only do so much.
Oh, man.
I don't do many of them.
Wow.
Right? So, that's one of the challenges that we've got this set in front of us as fragrance, the fragrance community. How do we get the brand across, the fragrance across? We can only describe it so much to do it justice. Yes, I got the sample pack, and yes, we can do more of these, but I got to get the product out to some people's hands so they can describe it as well. And that's one of the reasons why you're going to get one of these, and you're getting the Provida de la Cacha as well. So again, don't smell the sample until you get it, because I want to get that live air.
For sure.
For
sure.
I haven't decided which oil I'm going to send with that, but you'll get the machine, and I think I sent it with a small sample, the 10 ml of the floral.
Okay. I appreciate that. I look forward.
Too.
What's that?
I said, I know you love the Pour Femme as well.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
If you love the candle, I mean, you're going to love that.
Man.
I can see that. You can see that a little bit more now, can't you?
It's definitely filling up the room.
Not smoking it, but
yeah. I mean, it must smell fantastic in there right now.
It smells amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to shut it up because it's kind of fogging it up.
And speaking of the candle, real quick, I did see my friend Eve commented asking. She said she may have missed it, but the wax of the candle, I guess what it's made out of.
A lot of people are picky about the wax.
Yeah.
It's actually a blend.
Okay.
I'm trying to go, non-soy, with soy, paraffin, non-paraffin. Trust me, it took me about 8 months to get this candle right. And again, the problem was I don't use a lot of synthetics because I was using the same exact oil that I put into my fragrance. Okay? So when you do that, you're going to have issues with throat. And the last thing anybody wants is a candle that you can only smell when you got your face up in it and you get singed. That's not the purpose of the candle. So yeah, it is a blend. Okay, now some people are going to frown upon that, and some people don't care. I want a candle to function well. I am interested in the environment, and I am interested in renewable and but I would not have that candle if I did not develop a blend that gave it the throw that I needed.
That's right. Okay?
It's a natural wick. I didn't go with wood. I tried wood, but it's kind of sparked a little bit and gave off a little bit too much soot. Mm-hmm. If you hadn't noticed, it's a white wax and it's a white glass. The last thing I want is a dark ring around the thing and putting off a lot of soot. So you're not going to get a lot of soot, and you're not going to get any sparking or anything like that, which you don't want with the candle as well. Again, I'm thinking as a property owner, last thing I need is soot and sparks popping off.
Yes, exactly.
So, if you're one of those sticklers for it's got to be beeswax or it's got to be soy or it's got to be it is a blend. I'm not going to go into the details of the blend, but it's a beautiful blend. The throw is magnificent. I'm very happy with the candle. And one thing that you will find with my products, I won't release it unless it's perfect.
Yes. Just from what we've talked about over the past year, with the release of these fragrances, how much you're putting into them all the time with the, like getting the formulation right and everything. I can tell that you like to, continually come back to it. Like, let me make sure, is this refined? Is this the product I want to put out? No, I can tweak that. I can tell you're meticulous with that. And it shows. It shows.
There's a little madness that goes into it.
Of course, yeah.
You fall asleep by, what are you doing at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, I just had an idea.
Yeah.
I work on this, it's just inspiration hits you whenever. But, I'm very happy with the way things are going. And, I actually, with the help of you and Chris and some of the other reviewers and some of the different changes and things that I've done marketing-wise and business-wise, I'm actually doing, I don't know, I looked online and I was like, because I keep all my reports and I think I'm about 13,000% better right now as far as the sales and everything else that are going. Mm-hmm. And that's including the diffusers and all the other businesses I have as well with fragrance, which is very surprising and shocking. And I was really down when this whole thing happened. And I was actually supposed to be in Vietnam the day before Trump went on and said that there's a travel ban. And what had happened was I was supposed to be in Saigon, and my connecting flight was through the Philippines. And I tried to check in, and the Philippine Airlines was like, no, we can't check in. You don't have your flight. I'm like, what's going on? So I called up the airlines, and they were denying all flights into the Philippines. They basically shut off the country, and it was a blessing in disguise. At first, I was like, man, I paid a lot of money for this. I've got hotels. I even know where the U.S. consulate is. I've got this all mapped out. I've got meetings. I got people coming in from Cambodia, from Thailand. Just like the whole Essence and Milan thing, there was a lot of work. There was like 6 months of communication back and forth with reviewers, distributors, boutique owners.
Yeah.
A lot of work and communication back and forth just to have it all be kaput.
Yeah.
It's better safe than sorry. I found out later, like 2 days later after that if I had gone there, they would have made me get on a plane and fly all the way back. And I wouldn't have gotten a refund at that point because I made it there and obviously had to get another flight back. Or it would have put me in quarantine for 14 days, which in a communist country, how nice can that be?
Yeah, it wouldn't be like sitting at this table in front of all these things you're at now.
Wouldn't have been a great situation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have probably been packed for it. So,
yeah, totally.
It is what it is. And I know you were going to ask me too, like what things are different now.
Yeah, sounds like we're in it now. So.
I have brought on a couple of new people. I don't know if some people have interacted with Luana on Instagram or Chris on Instagram, but I do have a couple of other people that log in and they post and they interact as well. So if you DM me on Instagram, either they will answer it. You'll know pretty much if it's me or not. But I've actually brought on a couple of new people. They're helping me with the orders and shipping things out and printing out labels and packing orders and answering people's questions and customer service, because everything's gotten more international now. Again, big thanks to Chris Fragmental over the UK.
Yeah.
He's got the exposure over there. You've done great here. And I only anticipate that growing. I do plan on working with more reviewers as well. I don't directly work with them. The reason I actually like to pick up the phone and talk with people that want to represent or work with me. I want to hear them. I want to hear their voice. I want to hear, did they like the fragrance? What they can tell me about. Are they truly interested? Some people just want a free bottle. Some people, they want to get going. And I've been there. I'm still, relatively new speaking in the niche fragrance world. And I get it. And I'll be working with more people soon. But, delivery is important. Personality is important. Presentation is important. Are you still there? I don't know if you're getting the pop-ups or I'm getting the pop-ups.
I'm not sure what that is. We're still here. I'm hearing them, but I don't think it's me. I don't typically hear that.
Maybe it's me. I don't know why I'm getting pop-ups now.
Yeah, we're good.
What am I doing different? I think I had told you too. The purpose of some of these traveling, meetings that I had and stuff was to work with the boutiques. And even before the whole situation now, the fragrance market has kind of been saturated, and boutiques and stores have kind of been closing up, and things have been kind of shifting online. And part of it's because people want things and they want it now.
Yeah.
They don't want to go out and get it. And it depends on regional too. If you're over in the UAE, it's totally different. Going out to a department store or a mall over there is a thing to do. You dress up, you meet up with your friends. It's more of a thing to do. In the United States, it can be in some places for the high-end luxury boutiques, but for the general population, that's why Amazon and some of the other online retailers have picked up, and some of the boutiques have kind of faded off. And I know in New York, especially, even before this, a couple of them have closed up, and a couple other places too. So you gotta roll with the punches. You gotta transition. You have to have a good online presence. You have to have a nice website. You have to have it in the hands of reviewers that can actually speak for you as independent. I can say my stuff is great all day, but if, you're getting it from, of course, I'm going to say it's great. You got to get it from somebody who, that's what they do. They review fragrances and they've smelled hundreds of fragrances.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. You got to get it out. And another difficulty too was getting to some of the boutiques. In this situation now is, they were wanting coefficients of 5, coefficients of 4.5. And for those of you that don't know, that would be like taking the retail cost and dividing it by 5. There's not a lot of meat on the bone, so to speak, after you go down that far on a wholesale. And if you're dealing with a larger retailer like a Neiman's or a Nordstrom, okay, you factor that in there because you're expecting to get a lot of sales.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you got to think of other things too: buybacks, returns. They want you to have an on-site salesperson. There's a lot more expenses in that as well. And compound that with, lately I've been having them reach out to me saying, okay, we have a new program for new fragrances or new niche clothing, but you got to pay in. So now you're going to have to pay in 30, 40K just to have your product in a store. You got to handle the buybacks, handle a salesperson in the store. It's not the same as it was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pluses and minuses to that. Now that I'm selling online and I'm selling, thankfully, even during this time period, I'm not doing the wholesale cost. I'm doing retail.
Yeah.
Which allows me to do some specials, some bonus, some giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
You got to look at it as a blessing and a curse, and you got to roll with the punches, and you got to take advantage of the situation that you're in. So that's where I'm at. I can't sit here and piss and moan about it. It's not going to do me any good.
Exactly. It doesn't change anything.
What I can do is, when people get the product, if they enjoy it, tell somebody about it. And that's the best thing that you can do for me. If you enjoy my fragrances and you appreciate the artistic effort that I took to make it, if you love the presentation, if you love anything about it, tell somebody about it. Post it on Instagram. Your pictures and your comments, they mean a ton because they're unsolicited. There's no way I can reach out to everybody and say, post that, say something nice. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I get an unsolicited comment or somebody tries to reach through me through info@byargos.com, they say, hey, they love it. That means so much to me, just getting that feedback and then it means 10 times more to someone that's on the fence that maybe just heard about Argos, and they're not sure if they want to try it. Now, of course, we got the sample pack, but, those unsolicited comments, they're priceless.
Yeah, totally. Oh man. Yeah, and it's been a real pleasure to share, your work with my audience. I mean, as I've told you, um, I'm real when it comes to what I like, what my tastes are, what I don't like. And I have really noticed quite an evolution in your work in regards to fragrance since you've introduced me to what you do. And I already loved what you were doing at first, but now it's like it's I'm trying not to sound biased because I'm really not. It's one of those things where I just want to scream it from the rooftops, like how much these fragrances like move me, how much I love the way they smell, how they make me feel when I wear them. There's really nothing I don't like about them. They have depth. They have performance. People are going to smell them on you. They're going to be statement makers. People are going to ask you, like, what are you wearing? I've never really smelled anything like that. Um, it's that balance of interesting with familiarity. It's really hard to do that. It really gets people's attention. And again, just for me as a fragrance lover, they keep my attention. And as you get deep into it, it's hard to find those.
I think it was you that had mentioned before that there's something in the DNA that,
Yeah.
and if somebody took it like to mean that, okay, these all smell the same.
No.
That's it. But there's some houses out there, Zoology and a few others that they commission perfumers, and that's kind of unique, and everybody can appreciate that too because you get a different variation. But you might get a totally different. You might not even realize it's from the same house.
Yeah.
Because it's a different perfumer.
Exactly.
But what you meant by that, you're gonna know it's an Argos fragrance.
Yeah. I mean, the same way, like if you listen to a lot of Beethoven symphonies, after a while you can listen to a symphony without knowing what it is, and it's Beethoven. There are, at least in that realm, there are sonic, there's a sonic identity to it. There's certain things that he uses that make it sound like him and his, what he was hearing, even though he was deaf, but that's a whole nother thing. His inner musical hearing,
totally music.
And it's the same thing with fragrance. It's like when you are putting forth your own sincere effort into your work, your identity is in there and it comes through. It's undeniable. And that is what links them together, Yeah, totally.
So we said we were going to do a full bottle giveaway before the end of
this. That's right.
Yeah,
I think we're coming up on, we're about an hour and a half roughly in, so I think we're coming up on the end of it.
15 minutes, so
yeah.
So let's do a full bottle, so whoever wins this next contest will get their choice of the Pour Homme or the Pour Femme, and they'll get a sample pack, so they'll get to experience the 3 new ones as well in that sample pack.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And whoever wins, they'll just DM you, and then that'll go out on Monday.
Perfect.
Pick this next contest.
Let's see. What do they got to do? Let's see here. Yeah, I was sitting here trying to figure this out as you were talking over the past like 10 minutes. Like, what is this last contest going to be? I was thinking something Argos related, obviously, would be nice. Maybe something outside of the animals. Is there another realm we can kind of focus on in regards to the mythology that we can quiz on? Like,
let me think about that for a second because I explained a lot of it. If they listened, they would get the answer real.
Exactly. Which is fine. I mean, we talked about it, so it's like, you're in class, you get the lecture, you take the notes, and you got to...
I got one. I've got one. I mean, it's a gimme if they watch the live stream in its entirety, but what is the one thing that's in common between all the 3 new fragrances that were released?
Okay.
The new Italian line, the Triumph of Bacchus, Provida della Caccia, and the Baccio Immortale. What's the one thing that's truly in common that I had mentioned during the live stream?
All right.
Other than Greek mythology.
Yes. First
this
one.
Is not related to the name, okay? This is related to something else.
Exactly. First one.
Right. whoever the first person that gets it right gets to choose between the pour homme, the pour femme, and they get a free sample pack. And that'll go out on Monday, or as soon as you give me their information.
Yes. All right, and our first one is in. We got Sense, who's actually another reviewer. He's a friend of mine. He's the first one to leave the comment. He said leather.
He gets a bottle.
All righty. So, Josh at Sense, I'll be in touch with you.
We're going to disqualify him.
What's that?
He's a reviewer. We're going to disqualify him because he's a reviewer, but not in a bad way.
Okay.
Because he just messaged me like before we got on, and I got to call him anyways because I got to talk to him.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Get compensated anyways.
Okay. Okay.
But let's pick somebody else. So don't feel bad.
All right, Josh. Yeah, we'll get you what you deserve in another way.
After the show.
That's right. So the next one is going to be RPS 13 Joe, and he also said leather.
Okay. So he would be the winner.
All right.
Because I did one thing, and that was I think I mentioned that 3 or 4 different times. That was one of the subtle different things that I was trying to accomplish with this new line is to create leather, which were a very difficult scent for me to wear from any other house. And enjoy them, especially in a unisex, or something that wasn't one occasion specific, or something that was heavily, really animalic versus animalistic, or ashy, or kind of harsh. So yes, I'm losing my lights, so they're dying.
That's all right.
That means I do pay my electric bill. I am getting enough sales to pay it. I'm keeping the lights on, so everything's good here. But, the battery pack on that one just went out. So.
That's all right.
Leather is the correct answer. Whoever that person was, they get I'm assuming the pour homme, unless they want to gift the pour femme.
Exactly. That's
right. They
right.
also get the sample pack, so they'll get to experience the 3 new ones as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, so Joe, once again, you can either hit me up on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, it's at Stay Fresh Productions. It should be in the description. Or you can email me at thestayfreshproductions@gmail.com, and we'll get your info, and we'll get you can choose either the pour homme or the pour femme in a bottle form, and we'll get you a sample pack of the 3 new Italian releases. So, yeah, get at me. But I think that's good for now. I think we've covered just about everything.
We shouldn't have.
Hey, no. I mean, it's a gift. You really just gave all the viewers a free gift of the insight into what you're doing in fragrance and outside of that and what is to come. And you answered a lot of questions I didn't ask, that I was going to ask, which is wonderful. So I really appreciate that. Christian, I really appreciate your time. Really, thank you so much for being so generous. And
it was my pleasure. And whoever's watching or viewing, be safe. Thank you for watching. Keep following Stay Fresh Productions. I mean, I think I told you the first time, your delivery is so smooth and it's natural, and I love that. Your smile and everything. So keep doing whatever you're doing because it's working. I can't wait to see your reviews on the full review on the Baccio Immortale and the Vida della Caccia. But again, don't smell the sample pack. I want to catch your first little story.
Of course.
Right?
Wonderful.
And then you're going to get the diffuser as well, which is something new that a lot of people aren't experiencing. They maybe have a water humidifier type diffuser. Mm-hmm. This is a pure oil one, and you're going to notice right away when you turn it on.
I appreciate that.
Everybody be safe. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for having me. And
yeah, of course.
Just again sometime. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so.
I got the green screen coming, so I'm going to figure out how to make myself be in Hawaii.
Yeah, or in front of the Coliseum or something.
Background.
Yeah. Yeah, and real quick, couple announcements. Number 1, again, there's a link in the description of the video where you can go straight to buyargos.com and you can access the entire catalog of what they have to offer right now in terms of fragrance. There is a code that should be right there underneath the link. It's FRESH10. You can use that for 10% off.
It's on the UK side as well. So
that's right. That's right. I do need to add that link in. I forgot. So thank you for reminding me.
If they don't, it should, even if because I was hoping at this stage in the game next week or in 2 weeks my lab and distribution center in Nice would have been open, but we're doing everything from the U.S. for now until things clear up and that can open back up again. But the orders will ship out. Just if you're in the UK or in Europe or UAE or wherever overseas, give it 2.5 to 3 weeks. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
It just takes a while. So don't message me in 2 days or 3 days if you're overseas. It is coming from the U.S. for now.
Yeah.
All orders, international orders come from the U.S. So just be patient. I do provide tracking. Everything's linked through the PayPal. If you pay and you don't have a PayPal account, doesn't matter. PayPal is just my checkout system. You'll still get probably an email saying thank you for your order, and you can track it with that number.
Yeah.
If there's any hiccups, then you can email me at info@byargos.com.
Yeah.
Lana, Chris, or myself will then pick up the ball and figure out your problem, and we'll solve it for you.
Wonderful. Well, Christian, thank you again, really, for your time, for your generosity. To the viewers, you're going to be seeing a couple reviews coming in the next few weeks. I will be talking about Baccio Immortale pretty soon. Beautiful scent. We'll be talking about Bevido de Acacia pretty soon, and maybe even have some more giveaways coming. If things are looking good, we can talk about getting some more bottles out. And
bottles left, we can do a review. We'll see.
Yeah.
This this one will be gone probably by the end of the week.
Okay.
It's just how it is. Especially this morning, I had the buyer. I think we did about 20 bottles this morning in about an hour. So it's a blessed that things are actually working out. This one will be next, and then this one will be gone too. As soon as things open back up, I can get more things going again. Everything here I do make myself before the cap are pressed. I polish them up and I send them on your way. You'll notice you get a letter and it's signed. So hopefully things do get better. Everybody stays safe, and then my lab in France will open up, so UK shipments will get there faster.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. Okay. Yeah. Everyone stay safe. We'll be back with you guys again. I'll be back with more info about Argos pretty soon, another review. Again, check out the website. Make sure you follow By Argos on Instagram. That is the handle, By Argos, if you don't already, and stay up to date. And once again, thank you, Christian. I'm going to
keep food on, and I'm going to parlay this into date night. So I'm going to the wife, and we're just going to have a glass of wine and have a date night. So
Wonderful.
Everybody, make the best of your situation.
Yeah.
Love everybody around you, and stay safe. Hopefully we can do this again.
I hope so. Thank you again, Christian. We'll see you again soon.